Alright, I ain't dead, so this is going to be part 2. I got the mower back on the ground, so basically no difficulty at all. Over here, pretty much all mowers will have an access hole to get to your bolts to change your blades. Sometimes they have a metal cover bolted to them, sometimes they don't. Bush hog does not. John Deere doesn't that I'm aware of. So you go through that hole with a rod, then using the rod and the sledgehammer you can knock your bolt out for your blades, and you can also most of the time get your stump jumper to pop off too. Here's the pin I use right here, 1.5 inches. This keeps it from falling through the hole. This is actually a pin for one of my bulldozer rakes. I got a spare set of mounts, and pretty damn handy for working on bush hogs. Okay, here's the belly pan that I just took off. This here don't go there. This is the shield to protect the seal on the output shaft for the one going to the bottom on the gearbox. And this had fallen off. It was riding here. I got more of these. That was a gearbox that was leaking oil pretty bad. So the ID of the stump jumper was well lubed. It only took 3 hits with a 10-pound sledge on this pin to knock this thing off. Got lucky. Sometimes you're just a real bear to get off, and this one just come right off. You can better see the damage now. Missing metal here, cracked welds everywhere, big old chunk of metal missing here. All this missing metal throws everything out of balance. Major dents on it, beat all to hell. Okay, if you're asking yourself, well, why am I going all this trouble and why I didn't buy a new mower? Well, I priced a new mower as this one is set up with a hydraulic cylinder and some other features, and tow behind model, not 3-point lift, slip clutch, heavy duty. It's got the high horsepower gearboxes. Brand new is $8,000. I picked this thing up at auction, I believe, for $2,800. And I had put new blades on it, some other small parts. That's another $300 or $400, so it was about $3,200. These parts I need for another $1,395. Okay, so now we're at $4,500. But the deck is pristine. There's still original thickness on the metal. Whoever had it before me kept it in a barn. The laminated wheel assemblies are fine. Everything moves as it should. Drive line's in good shape. So it seems like this is a major problem, but believe it or not, it isn't. I've had to replace stump jumpers before. Don't like it. They're expensive most of the time. These were too. But this bush hog as it sits, $8,000. I priced a John Deere MX8, set up the same way. It was $9,200. So these mowers, you get up to a big size, freaking expensive. And all said and done, I'll still be almost $4,000 a head on a mower I use 4 or 5 times a year. Doubtful it'll be stolen because it's old and people want to steal new stuff because it sells faster. So there's a little bit of method behind my madness other than saving a few $1,000s. On tools, let's say you buy a little piece of land, you get you a new tractor, get you some more equipment, put in a little garden spot, you got your bush hog, whatever you're doing. Farm use is one of the worst environments for any kind of piece of equipment. It's always under heavy load, it's in a harsh environment, may or may not be kept outside in the weather. You got to have tools. You know, this 3/4 impact I'm using came with a bunch of government surplus tools I bought. I bought several thousand pounds, Pretty damn reasonable. Sold a bunch and made about 8 times what I paid for them. I still got a couple thousand pounds left. So I was fortunate. You go down to Harbor Freight and buy whatever their off-brand is, 3/4 impact. I've got one at my shop. Puts out 1,200 foot-pounds of torque or thereabouts. And they ain't bad. And they're a couple $100. On air compressor, drive this big stuff, you can't use a little bitty carry around air compressor. You don't have enough volume of air. This is the one I'm using out of Harbor Freight, dirt cheap, 2.5 horsepower. Right now I've got it rigged up to a 3/8 airline. The one I use at work, I've got to have max torque on these 3/4 impacts. I got to run a 1/2 inch airline so I get volume of air through the hose. This one's doing fine for what I'm using it for up here. If I'm working on a dozer and I really got to get the torque up, all I got to do is change over to a 1/2 inch airline. I don't like using them because they're heavy and cumbersome. These 3/8 most of the time work fine. When I get ready to change the seals out on these gearboxes, I will remove the gearboxes instead of working upside down. There's 6 bolts, some drive line components, no big deal. And that's the best way to do it. You can get a quality job done. You won't booger up your seals. And if you've got any issues, it's easier to see when it's laying on a workbench. When you're laying on your back looking up, hot, tired, and pissed off. So anyway, got it taken apart. Didn't kill myself. So life is good so far. It is just freaking hot up here. I got a bunch of stuff to unload from my truck. Might just get it unloaded and call it a day. It's coming up on 2 o'clock. And it is hot. So I didn't die. I hope you all find these videos interesting. When I get the gearboxes taken off, I'll do some more videos of those so you can see what a gearbox looks like. Kind of interesting, actually. Alright, that's all. Click the subscribe, like button, all that good stuff. Leave comments. Thank you.